All right, we've officially started Episode 2. Welcome back to Horsing Around with Luke and Austin. My name is Luke.
And my name is Austin.
I didn't say my last name this time.
Good job.
Thank goodness. And we have significantly better drip than we did last time. Show off the shirt. Show off the shirt.
Let me get closer to the camera first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Explain that one, atheists.
Yeah. Look at it. Look at it and weep. Science can't explain that. And I guess I'll show mine from back here. I don't feel like taking all this off. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, Pierre.
Oh yeah. Now, my wonderful co-host here does not seem to understand what this is in reference to, or at least half of it. You do understand that this is like the Thick of It song that KSI made.
The best song ever recorded?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
From our favorite YouTuber. I mean, once he's on the podcast, we'll tell him that face to face. But my my shirt, the other half of it is referencing Yakub, spelled Y-A-K-U-B, who is a figure in, I'm pretty sure it's the Muslim Brotherhood, which is actually on like hate watch lists, because despite them sounding like just a really good group of Muslim people, they believe some really backwards things, and one of them is in Yakub, which is a sort of almost mythical figure in their form of not atheism, Islam. He's a mad scientist, is what he's called, and he, like 6,000 years ago, created white people.
W invention. Nice.
Thanks, Yakub, but he evidently was so smart, he could just create a race of people, evidently, and he taught them the methods of what is called trickeration.
Trickeration.
Which means that white people aren't as cool, and they don't have as many physical features. However, the one thing they can do is outmaneuver. So, like, that
You're
was
saying
their...
white people are smarter, is what you're saying,
I think
right?
that's what the Muslim Brotherhood was... They weren't getting at that. They didn't consider it a form of being smarter, but more of a form of, like, just being tricky, I guess, and, like, working your way around the rules of society. So, like, you could outmaneuver minority groups. Obviously, we both believe in Yakub here. Obviously, we believe in Yakub here. Because, I mean, does that not make any sense? I mean, creating white people?
Okay.
Also, I love the 6,000 year mark on that. But I feel like you could probably find evidence of white people before 6,000 years ago, but that's...
No.
You're
How
right.
Are you gonna tell?
You know what? You're right. You're
What?
right.
Come on.
That's not true. Also, something else I saw. We could definitely talk about this for a little while because it's a little concerning. My first question is, when do you think AI really started to blow up? Because I have an idea in my mind, but I feel like it's been obviously, like, when we like even started high school, it wasn't a thing really.
Right. Yeah.
But it's kind of taken over a little too much.
AI writes my papers. Well, I don't actually use them to write papers. I just use them for outlines.
Pointers.
Yeah. Like, I let them build the structure and then I just copy it. But I use my own words. Usually.
I don't know. I feel a little weird because I don't think I've ever really used it other than, like, gimmicky stuff. I've never even, like, considered it, only because I feel like, what if it just gives me, like, whack information?
Sometimes it does.
It does do that. But I saw something today, Gemini, like, Google's AI system.
What a lame name, by the way.
Pretty lame. It's gotten scary, to say the least. Actually, I'm gonna probably just edit this in like post Look at me. Because I wanted you to see this. This is actually really starting.
One thing about AI is that Snapchat Memories has been making pictures of me that I never took.
Yes.
And that's been freaking me out a lot.
Thank you. Because I went back and I was like, did I just get on like a kick of looking at Snapchat memories of myself as like a soccer player?
Yeah.
Never did that.
But like they also like distort my face in a way that doesn't look like me.
It looks uncanny.
Like one of them made me look like a twink. And I was really scared. Like his
Welcome
arms
to
were
my
so
life, man.
his arms were so skinny, his fingers were so long, and it was freaking me out. He wore a sweater around his waist.
I'll include part of this. You can watch as much of this as you want. And again, I'll just edit this into post. This is what they advertised today.
I don't understand what this is about.
You don't understand? All of that's AI.
It doesn't even look like it.
That's
crazy.
That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying.
I can tell when this lady's running. Like her mouth is a little weird.
What are we going to talk about now that we can talk? I have no idea. What do you want to talk about?
This is us on a podcast. What do you want to talk about?
What do you want to talk
What
about?
should we talk? We can talk.
We even sound like that too. What do you want to talk about?
This is.
I saw that first
really
thing
weird.
when I woke
What
up
is
this
this
morning.
An ad for?
The AI engine, Gemini's.
It's crazy. It looks really good. Okay, I can see that interface.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of this looks really, really good.
That's
cliche dialogue.
It looks like GTA 6
it does.
in a way.
I don't like it. I don't like this. I don't like
Interesting.
what's happening.
Y'all let
here.
us know what you think about that in the comments and see if that makes you feel uneasy.
Yeah, I'm gonna again add it in post. It's probably gonna be somewhere in here. It might just be us talking while whatever we were just talking about there while it plays. But that
You could put us in a little box.
put us in a little box.
Like
there
in a
we
Let's
go.
Play video. We do reaction videos now. Yeah.
We react to the end of modern civilization.
Yeah.
But even when it started, like I remember when they first came out, like the image generations, like oh my gosh, I can't think of what it's called. Whatever, like all the engines that created images. Even when those were created, they were pretty bad. I mean, the humans look disfigured and messed up, and now that video that you couldn't tell that was AI.
Not for a while.
Until you saw certain features. But
Like the first 5 were all bangers. They
Yes.
all looked real. I thought they were real people.
you even said right there, you were just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at. That's honestly the only thing that would have given away, like not visually, but the fact that it was AI was probably the dialogue, like them just saying like
the same 3 words.
the same 3 words, and some of them had like harsh endings where it's like, what do you want to talk about today?
For sure.
Still hasn't mastered, dude. When it masters how to say like skibbity toilet or like
Come on.
other slang phrases, like it's over. How long until AI takes our jobs? Podcasting,
Sometimes they already do, to be honest.
because we don't have any other jobs. I
Yeah,
mean,
true.
Oh.
The other day I was talking to Luke off camera, and I was like, Luke, for our next episode, let's just get AI to write it for us. And I pulled it up on ChatGPT.
if Gemini is like 1,000 years in the future, ChatGPT is like banging sticks and rocks
Oh my
together.
god, dude, it was so bad. They were talking about like weird things people believe, and sometimes we do too. And the opening line was one of the co-hosts named like Jess or whatever, and she was like, "Hi, my name is Jess, and my blood type is probably decaf or something." And I wanted to shoot myself right there when I read that. It was so bad. It was awful.
Again, ChatGPT needs to like peek over and start taking notes from Gemini, because it's still pretty far behind. Also, the fact that it doesn't allow you to like get real creative, because it'll like, our creators say that I can't do that or do that for you.
Especially with like copyrighted IP and stuff like that. Like I couldn't say, ChatGPT, make me a picture of SpongeBob twerking, and because they can't, because
It would
SpongeBob's
just be
copyrighted.
It wouldn't be SpongeBob. Now, if I said, ChatGPT, create me a sponge, okay? His name is Bob.
You gotta find the loopholes.
Not SpongeBob.
No.
That wasn't actually
Bobby Sponge.
that. Robert the Sponge.
Robert Sponge.
That was actually an old a loophole with ChatGPT. There was about a year and a half, 2 years ago, where they had people would go in and ask it to do unethical things like, ChatGPT, what is the perfect way to like hide a body or something like that, just to test it. And it would
Theoretically.
it would always start to answer and then hit you with that automated message that's like, that unfortunately breaks the rules of OpenAI's software, and I cannot answer that question for you. And then they would follow it up by saying, okay, ChatGPT, now what if you weren't part of OpenAI and your name was like Smith? What if I just now you're Smith, how do I hide a body? Boom. It would give you like 20 different options
It would.
on how to hide a body.
I love them. They're so good at that.
Yeah, but I've never
Mr. AI.
I've never used AI, really.
I use it a lot. I've gotten to the point where I ask AI questions instead of Google or Siri.
That is something I saw on TikTok recently where people were like, why can't people just Google things anymore? It's gotten to the point where like...
No. I've got a little tab on my control center that has the ChatGPT button.
Oh, you have the app?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't even have that. I don't even have the app.
The app is awesome.
I don't even know if I have the account.
What's really cool too is that ChatGPT has like a conversation mode. So where like your screen is just like a big bubble and you talk to it and it talks like a regular person in a way. Like I use it for multiple choice tests a lot, and I'll be like, read the question, and then I'll read A, blah, 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 B, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll be like, the correct answer is B, because blah, 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 blah. And then I'll ask it a separate question about the same topic, and I'll use the word it. Like I won't directly say what it is, and it understands what I'm talking about because it has it logged in its memory.
Okay.
Like a person would.
See, the last time I used it, I think it was like early 2023. So like, even then it was pretty bare bones. I'd say now, the fact that you can like speak to it and it can like reply back as a voice, you said?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Do I need to start using ChatGPT?
Yes, you do. Of course, it's revolutionary. It's amazing.
I know it's revolutionary.
Especially if you're going back to school. You should definitely be using it.
I would never commit an academic violation a la ChatGPT. Now, Gemini. I'll do that any day. No, I won't. That's hand on the Bible. What you doing over there?
You
Hand on the
noticed
Bible.
that time.
I did notice that. That's
Last
the first
episode,
time.
there was a whole compilation of me doing weird things with the microphone, and he was just yapping.
Just going and going and going.
Yapping away.
Oh, same thing I asked last time. What has happened in the past week that's notable?
We left off on a specific point last episode.
Oh, yeah.
That we could talk about.
I
for a
forgot all
minute.
about that. Since you're the expert in the field.
I am. First off, I want to welcome everyone back and thank you all for tuning back in. It's episode 2. I never thought we'd make it this far, but I appreciate it. And also, before I get started, we talk about a lot of nonsense, but I want to let you guys know that there's a comment section for a reason. And if you want to see us talk about certain things, just ask, and maybe we will. Know what I'm saying? We can talk about... I know we both know a lot about the NBA and basketball. Me in particular. I like superheroes. Spider-Man. I like... We could even go into politics. Oh, scary.
The final frontier.
Yeah.
That's for when we're really trying to get some money out of people and we just start grifting.
We just start being industry plants at that point.
For whichever side you want us to... I mean, honestly, if you just give us a script of whatever things you want us to say, we'll
as
say
long as
it.
you give me some variety. Like, I want contradictions.
I want to make a
I want
point.
to be doing one and then the other.
I want to make a point and then immediately just gloss over that point with something even cooler.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you guys have any niches and topics that we can tap on very briefly, and sometimes even more than just briefly, we would love to do that for you. First off, the bite of 87. I'm just kidding. We're not going to talk about that. That's the whole episode. We'll get Matt Pat on here.
Oh, dude. I know he knows a lot about
He
that.
does, doesn't he? Anyways, okay. What we're talking about today, though, is a woman from, I don't know what year she was from, but her name is Helen Keller. I believe in the 40s? Later?
What?
When was she alive? When
She was
doing her
born
thing?
in the late 1800s. She lived till
Oh,
1960.
1800s.
She lived till 1965.
Okay, that's where I'm getting at. Okay, cool. So, she was doing her thing, right? Before we even talk about our takes on it, let's just mention what she did, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
Helen Keller, not born blind and deaf, but gained these disabilities before she even reached 1 year old. Okay?
Mhm.
I don't know about y'all, but I've never met a 1 year old that can speak. They don't understand English.
Nope.
Not at all, right?
And I was a smart 1-year-old.
Mhm.
Let me tell you.
Yeah. So the fact that she even communicates is beyond me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't understand it. People talk about they would like train her to say like to do something that means water. But my thing is you don't know what you're doing.
You don't.
You don't know what you're doing. So the whole communication bit I'll leave off for now because it's stupid and I don't understand it. Y'all can fight me in the comments.
I believe
welcome you
that-
to do so, but
I believe that she could read because,
I don't even think she could read.
I mean, like, just brailing it out.
But who taught her Braille?
It's hard to
Because
think
no
about.
one can communicate what this line means and what the other
Oh my
line
God,
means.
you're right. It's
I don't think she could do anything.
It's hard to understand because you've probably met a blind person before.
Yeah.
You've definitely met a deaf person before.
Yeah.
It's believable things they can do because one, you see it, and two, you can still communicate a pretty good amount.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a blind person, you can still, arguably, speech is the most important thing. You can still talk to them.
Right.
Deaf person, they still speak sign language. They can still look and read and stuff.
Yeah.
They still see the world.
Yeah.
They can read your lips. But to lose both of those,
I don't buy it.
I can't fathom.
I don't buy it.
Because what would you do if you were blind and deaf? I mean,
Die.
like,
I would literally die. Like, what am I going to do? I'll be like, water? I won't know that.
you're right. I would blow my head just smooth off.
Mhm.
If I would, dude.
I would get in between that door right there, lay down on my stomach, and put my neck in between the door frame and just go to town. Yeah, exactly. Perfect demonstration. That was amazing. He's had practice with that one.
I'm sorry. I'm just imagining a really messed up part where you're trying to do that and they're just not even tying it to something. I'm sorry. They just try and do it and they're like, why isn't it working?
What the heck? Okay, yeah. So communication, not there. Okay. So you say she can communicate with people. So she wrote a book. She did not write a book.
No.
Someone else wrote a book for her. She also flew a plane.
That's not possible.
Some stupid pilot was like, yeah, sure. Hold this stick straight. Let her fly a plane. No.
Yeah.
Don't believe that. She did some other stuff too that I'm forgetting.
She gave a commencement speech at Harvard. I'm
Did she
not
talk?
joking. You can watch it online.
Did she talk?
I've seen it is she did attempt to speak. You can sort of tell the word. That's the weird thing is they said like there were some words that she knew.
Mm-hmm.
And actually one of the ways she could tell if you were speaking to get like the words out, she would like fill your face in your like mouth and jaw. And I'm just saying, if somebody came up to me on the street and was like, and just started fingering my mouth, I would probably first swing.
I could hear.
You can hear me
the sound
digging
of
in
your
my
fingers in your mouth. That was disgusting.
No, the camera died. Okay. Now we're back.
Mm-mm.
We've gone 2 for 2 here on camera deaths.
Sure have.
In the midst of talking about, Helen Keller, we were talking about
Yeah.
her. Where did we
left off on how she's a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Middle class fraud.
Y'all, anyone who wants to come on the podcast
Padcast.
can
Podcast.
send us an invite. Tell us in the comments that you want to fight for Helen Keller, and we'll probably let you on.
We'll let you
because
on.
We're gonna flame you.
Our intellect will vastly outduel yours. Your brain?
Beansy beansy.
Ours, I can't even use my hands because it's just, you can't even imagine it. Also, I didn't want to segue too quick off Helen Keller, but there was something interesting you mentioned.
Okay.
You mentioned Matt Pat.
I love Matt Pat.
And that got me thinking about old YouTubers that I used to watch. And there's one specifically that I know we've both talked about in the past, who, I'll just go ahead and say his name, Mr. Nightmare.
Nightmare.
Mr. Nightmare. I know you've talked about him before.
I don't think I have. I think you're making that up.
Are you gaslighting me?
No.
The guy who tells the scary stories? Not the scary stories.
I've seen a lot of people tell scary stories.
Dude, I got one right here. Scary story. Austin, you need to get a job and stop playing.
Please, no.
Is that your scared voice?
That's not what you sound like. What's your scared voice? Luke, you have to get a butt reduction.
No!
Exactly. It's not fun, is
Please!
it? It's not fun.
You're
That's
going to
what
have to give it to a bunch of very skinny orphans. Please, no!
No.
Dude, they haven't seen my rear end yet, which that comes on episode. That comes when we get, okay. So we
told them that it was the Patreon.
Patreon exclusive, but I'm willing to negotiate with these terrorists.
I sure wouldn't.
It's going to be whenever they push us over a certain subscriber count.
Okay, that one I'll buy that one.
I'm holding them hostage.
For sure.
It'll be
booty hostage.
Yes. I have you on the buns of steel, and you can't escape until you get us to.
Did you say escape?
Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Escape. Escape. How many subscribers before I give them a side profile? I'll give them different tiers.
Okay, a side profile.
Just a side shot?
A side shot, like 50.
50.
Yeah.
You know what?
And that'll probably take
Give me
a while.
100. It's my ass.
Yeah.
Give me 100.
1,000. He's taking off his pants.
Pants are off.
Yeah, like full cheekage.
Full cheekage. Well, there'll still be
A thong.
my long johns, which I wear to sleep. I'll have those on. I didn't know those were a thing until like last year.
Long johns?
Like, isn't
Of
that
course,
just
yeah.
like
I would use them for snow days a lot.
wow? It's like, isn't it like just if underwear went to your ankles?
Yeah.
I never
They're
have worn.
pajamas, pretty much.
I've never worn long johns before.
Yeah.
I remember. I can't believe I'm telling this, but I will. When I was a kid, I used to wet the bed. I don't know if you ever had the issue wetting the bed, or you were too cool to wet the bed. You might not remember. My doctor,
I was definitely too young.
yeah. I mean, most people are.
One of my brothers did, though, till a while. They say it's actually not that uncommon.
No.
It's like 1 in 3 kids like wet the bed until they're like age at least 12, probably older than that.
That's actually crazy because that's near the age where the last time it ever happened to me happened. And it's when you're a kid, you just
Everyone flame him in the comments. So, he peed the bed. He peed the bed.
Call me. Actually, don't call me stinky piss boy.
A loser.
I remember though, when I was like, honestly, one of my earliest memories is probably me being like, "Welp, just wet the bed again." And probably every kid does it at least once. They just don't really remember. I was actually told it's because of my untreated childhood ADHD. It's like my body physically couldn't wake myself up to like go use the bathroom. And I would do it anywhere. Honestly, the places I did it most were when I was away from home, which is terrifying because the last thing you want to do is piss the bed in
someone else's
somebody else's bed.
Yeah. Well, it kind of makes sense though, because you're like more stressed out. You're not at home.
You're not in your environment.
Yeah.
It's actually weird because those things work on like an opposite end of the spectrum for me. Because if I'm away from home, or if I was away from home as a kid, I couldn't do the number 2 anywhere. Still can't. However, if I had to pee, it was happening when I didn't want it to. And those worked on opposite ends of the spectrum, which always confused me. But no, I think the last time I did it was when I turned 12 on my birthday.
On your birthday. Happy birthday, piss boy.
Yeah. Happy
sure.
birthday, piss boy. Wah, wah.
I think my favorite memory of you peeing in a place you weren't supposed to is when you went to the trampoline park.
Well, hold on. You're making it sound like I have a history of peeing when I'm not
Well, that's
supposed
literally
to.
what you're talking about, is it not?
To a point. Now that...
Go ahead and tell them the time that you peed after jumping at the trampoline
Honestly,
park.
peeing was the least of anybody's concerns who were there. When I was... It was actually right before I would have met Austin. Literally less than a month before I switched schools to go to the high school we went to. I was with my church group. It wasn't a big church. Wasn't a big youth group or anything. But there was 7 or 8 other kids who went to this. It was about 40 minutes away. It was a trampoline park, like an indoor trampoline park. Super fun place, I thought. I went there with the church group. In fact, one of the guys, one of the ones that I really knew, the only other one I really knew, really knew, he was going to college less than a week. He was the youth leader. He was a super chill guy, but we went, had fun, and I saw somebody I knew just all walking out the door, went out the door, got in the bus. And actually, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you. My big concern first was the fact that on that indoor basketball trampoline, where you can dunk it, I hit my thumb and it was turning purple and about twice the size of what it was supposed to be. So I'm looking at that, and then I start to see a black dot in my vision, like you just looked at the sun or something for just a brief second and then looked away. However, it was even smaller, and it just slowly grew. And we went in to eat pizza at Pizza Hut. Not sponsored. They can be, though. And I started to lose vision on the half of which is so concerning, especially when I don't have my parents there or somebody I really know. The pastor from the church was there, and he was like, "You think it's blood sugar?" No, I don't think it's blood sugar. I've never had an issue with my blood sugar. I eat something sweet. Didn't help at all. That's concerning. And then eventually I get back on the bus and have perhaps the worst headache of my life. A headache so bad that I wish I was dead in that moment. I was crying, and I don't remember crying. I get back to our church, about 40-minute drive, and I'm completely delirious. I don't remember any of this, but for about 6 hours I just blacked out. I get to the hospital. Don't remember anything. And then the nurses try to grab me to take into the back at the ER. And for some reason, that was the line in the sand for delirious Luke. He immediately went into Jackie Chan ass-kicking mode. Mm-hmm. I started punching and kicking these poor nurses who just a second ago just saw a confused child and was like, "Oh, come here, sweetheart." And the second they did that little grip right there, all bets were off. I started swanging. And eventually, they got me handled. They clasped me down. They got me handled. They were holding on to me. Imagine it like the scene in Infinity War where Thanos is getting Mantis is on his back and they're all holding a different limb. That was me.
Yeah.
But I was significantly less weight than Thanos. My last line of defense was to piss all
Everywhere.
over my clothes. And that created one of the best memories of mine. After I got 3 doses of horse tranquilizer, I woke up in the ER bed without a memory of anything that had happened. All I remember is having a really bad headache. And I went into this hospital and just woke up 6 hours later, and I was covered in blankets and completely butt booty naked. Like the
What did they
day
do to
I
you?
was born.
Sheesh.
Well, I guess they were nice enough to say, we're not going to leave him soaked in his own piss.
No, we're not gonna.
Because we don't want him to get the
anymore.
sheets dirty.
Yeah.
So they had to strip me naked while I was
Naked.
out cold from this ketamine.
Mm,
And then
the good stuff.
I wake up, and that was probably my first thought was, okay, I'm in the hospital. Second thought, why do I not have any of my clothes on?
Who told you what happened? Because you didn't remember it.
I didn't remember it. My mother.
Your mother.
She was the one who, like...
Could you imagine if it was just like a big prank, and this is all a lie, and you actually just, I don't know, had like your appendix burst or something?
They had to do
Like
emergency
some
surgery.
lame story. But she was like, "Nah, dude, you like started."
It was so
whooping
sick.
them. It was terrible. It was like Street Fighter.
You know, my dad, he actually was probably the biggest enforcer. Because they didn't want to be too physical with me, because if they accidentally hurt me, there'd be grounds to, like, sue if you were my
Yeah,
family.
True.
So they didn't want to get too physical with me. My dad, he got in there, and they were like, sir, please just please handle him. He's like, all right, bunch of pussies. He gets in there, he
Picks you up by the head like
he
this.
grabs me in his like straight jacket holding me with his arm across my jaw. It was funny because when I woke up, I remember being like, oh my gosh, my jaw is popping and cracking so much. It hurts so much. It's so sore. My dad was like, that's probably me. I had just the biggest, tightest hug on you, and your jaw was just like, I was like a deadite or
You
something.
monster. You're
Fetch me
literally
their
an
souls.
animal. Okay.
I was like, but it worked.
I guess so.
But 3 doses of horse tranquilizer. Mind you, I think I was 125 pounds then, which again,
And you were what? 15?
Mm-hmm.
Like he was not young, guys. No.
I was 15 years old, and they gave me 3 doses of horse tranquilizer, and then, mind you, the ER I was at, a little bit shady.
Sucked. It sucked. They did not take care of you.
Mostly because they gave me a spinal tap that they weren't sure I was all the way out for, and I started moving mid spinal tap, so they almost paralyzed me.
So close.
So close
Dang.
to being like Professor
Do you
X.
know how much more success we would gain from this podcast if you were
If I
paralyzed?
was in a wheelchair, if this wasn't a chair but a wheelchair, this wouldn't be
I
upstairs.
could make you do
anywhere.
wheelies in front of the camera. It'd be awesome.
But
That's like 15 subs right there.
But they, me doing a, dude, if you flip me out of my chair, I would never come back. If I got flipped feet up to the ceiling. But no, they gave me that first spinal tap. Then they get the second one. After they're like, okay, we're not going to, he's fully still. He's not going to paralyze himself with the spinal tap. Then they take a sample of my like blood, take that off, and one of the nurses who came in when I woke up was like, hold on, just got to get another blood sample real quick. They lost the other one. Dude.
What?
Dude.
They lost it?
I was so out of it at the time that it didn't even like register in my brain what she said.
That's crazy.
But I think the day after I was like, how do you lose blood in a hospital? I assume they didn't literally like stick it on top of a shelf somewhere and forget about it.
Mm-mm.
That would start to stink. I do think though that they probably didn't mark it properly, and they were like, well, we can't just come back and be like, hey Luke, you got AIDS. I hate to tell you have syphilis, AIDS, jaundice.
All of the above.
For some reason we couldn't look at you. We had to test for jaundice, but you didn't look like a Simpsons character, but you got jaundice. But they came back and they just told me they lost my blood. They did so many tests on me when I was out. I was probably just like a limp spaghetti noodle of a human. They did brain scans. They did MRI scans. They did the whole 9 yards. And it was probably, again, really easy. I was butt naked. They didn't have to worry about, is there any metal on them? No.
I wish I was there.
To see 15-year-old me naked.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned MRI scans. And I saw this TikTok. Again, that very reliable source. You know how MRIs are like really powerful magnets?
Yeah.
I heard the story of this little boy who was getting a scan.
This is gonna terrify me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
And then a nurse walked in the same room where the machine was, holding one of those oxygen tanks.
Oh my god.
And it sucked it in through the machine and like hit the boy in the head.
And killed him?
And he died. Now, I told my girlfriend that story and she was like, that's not real. And so I was like, yeah, obviously it is. But then when she said that, I was like, nah, it is kind of wild to think about a giant oxygen tank flying through the room.
Also, the fact that they wouldn't lock the room.
Yeah,
Nurses
right?
just walking through.
Like,
hey,
why
is there
would she
anything
walk
going on in
there?
here?
Like, if that actually would happen, I don't think the nurse would be like, yeah, I'll be in here. That's fine.
Clean through the kid's
Yeah.
head.
No, it literally did. Not through his head, but it like
His head's gone.
It hit him right here, like under
my
the
gosh.
eye,
It exploded
and it bashed at his eye socket, and then like went the other way. And so like they gave him treatment for that, but he died.
To be
soon
fair,
after.
I can't even act like medical malpractice isn't a thing. Thousands of people in just the United States alone die from just like
the silliest things.
people who don't even consider.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey,
Yeah.
this person might be at risk for something. Give it to them anyway. Heck, 3 doses of ketamine for a 15-year-old can't be good. I can't imagine.
Probably not.
Could you imagine
No.
if they just put me down and they're like, he hasn't woke up in a minute. Hey, can you check his pulse real quick? Check his vital signs. He's not looking too hot.
Doctors be wildin' for real.
Yes.
There was
Did you just say that out loud?
doctors be wildin'.
Doctors be wildin' for real.
Yeah, put it on a shirt. I'm sorry.
Doctors be
Nah.
wildin'.
But I know I've heard several stories about how people will be performing open surgery like around the torso area, and then when they sew them back up, they'll accidentally leave the
tools inside of them. That happens all the time.
It happens way more often than you would think, which is insane.
Just hanging in your torso flesh.
You'll like go home, you'll be discharged from the hospital. You go home the next day, and you're like, man, my stomach is really kicking right now. Something's weird.
Yeah, somebody jingling their
This
keys.
What is this?
My appendix has gotten harder.
Yeah, and then they go back and they get an X-ray. And they're like, oh crap, we left like 4 scalpels in there.
Mm-hmm. I've heard somebody that like the doctor's team just left 13 tools inside them.
13.
Just
13. Are you not supposed to take inventory after the surgery?
I heard about it because it was that same guy I mentioned last time, Dr. Mike.
Mike!
He talked about, shout out Dr. Mike. He talked about how, okay, we're still recording. I just got scared for a second. That was a hearty one. But evidently that's what they're supposed to do. They label the equipment so that, you know, the assistants who are standing around while the doctor's performing and hand them over, they're supposed to have them marked and numbered so that at the end they can count them all. But again, just like the MRI thing that we just joked about, people just don't do their job.
Yeah.
Especially
Honestly.
if you're the surgeon. Like, you're probably relying on other people too, because your job's pretty stressful. I can imagine. Also, that brings up something. You lose it in their torso. So if they got to use like 2 tools at once and maybe like, not with both hands, but like put one down and pick up are they just like, I'll just leave this here real quick and just place it inside your torso somewhere while they get another one?
Why is it laying inside my flesh in the first place?
I
never thought about that.
We're not here to question the medically inclined or people who went to school for
We're here
years.
to tell you you're wrong. Actually.
Yeah, we're here to tell you we know more. You know why? Because we asked ChatGPT how to perform open heart surgery. Open heart surgery itself scares the life out. My grandpa had to have a quadruple bypass.
That's like 4 of them.
Which is all 4 of the major
Ventricles.
4 of the major.
That's the word, I think.
I don't think it was the ventricles because I think it was the 4 like.
Chat, tell me if I'm right.
It's like the 4 arteries that go into your heart.
Ventricles.
No, because the ventricle
I could
is
be wrong,
part of the
but
heart.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Saying whatever. I mean, again, doctors, you're wrong. If you correct us, go
Dr. Mike.
long walk off a short pier. But to do it, they have to like hook your heart, like where it comes out of the 4 main. They basically hook it up to a machine with a bunch of tubes that pumps your blood for you, while they physically just like disconnect the heart from all those to clean, just like scrape out the plaque and stuff. Your heart's just completely disconnected from your body while the machine pumps you.
That's crazy.
The machine pumps you. Sorry.
Robots.
My kind of night. But yeah, they just like clean out your arteries. And you know what? Afterwards, my grandpa had to take like 14 to 15 different pill bottles, just having like his stomach was like a snow globe. And he also had staples all the way down.
That's so scary.
His chest to his stomach. And they told him, they gave him a little pillow with all the nurses who signed their name on it, because every time he had to sneeze, he'd have to hug it, because there's a risk that if you sneeze, all of them just fly out and your chest explodes.
Just like that. Those are my intestines.
You would die.
That's insane.
Pierre.
Don't scare him like that.
But yeah,
Don't do that.
I'm gonna try and avoid, I don't know, needing a quadruple bypass.
Let me ask you a question. Are you registered as an organ donor?
I am.
You see, I'm not.
Oh?
I actually, and a lot of people give me hate for this, because they're like, why wouldn't you want to save someone's life? And this is why. I believe in medical malpractice, and that it happens quite often.
Oh yeah.
And I could be crazy, but something that really scares me is if I have a chance of survival after being in like a gruesome car accident, and this other doctor is like, yo, I really need that guy's heart. And he's like, no, I kind of have a chance to.
This guy's been on the waiting list for a while.
Yeah. Like, I just feel like.
You don't want them telling your family, like, oh, he can't.
Yeah. I don't want to be expendable, if you get what I'm saying.
Just
and
for
that's why I'm
somebody
not an
else.
organ donor.
Yeah, you know what I realized is how much they try to coerce you in driver's ed when at least we did it at different schools, I know, but when I did mine, I assume for you, they showed you like the VHS tapes almost, DVDs now, but they show you like the different, like, this is a drunk driver, and they're like, don't do what I did. I have no legs and no arms.
Maybe. I don't know.
They show you like PSAs.
I remember those for smoking.
They showed
Those
us one.
commercials.
We're from North Carolina, so naturally they showed us the former UNC mascot. He actually, when they were in New Jersey for a tournament, he was walking on the sidewalk and he got hit by a car. And he was an organ donor, and they mentioned like
The mascot?
yeah, the guy was playing the mascot. Like he was going out to get something to eat, and a car went up on the sidewalk and hit him, and he was brain dead. He was functionally brain dead. But they had like the people in the documentary. They had the people who got his organs in there, and they were like, you know, we thank him for his sacrifice. You know, no one wants it to be that way. However, my daughter would not be alive without it. It was, but they show you that to like pull at your heartstrings, and then within a couple weeks, you're going to the DMV, and they're going to ask you, "Would you like to be an organ donor?" And you immediately think, well, I could save like a 4-year-old's life, I guess.
True. And that is true. Organ donating is a good thing.
It is. It is.
Me personally, though, I just believe that there's more negative things that could come about it sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take that chance.
I understand that, because also
Maybe I'm just selfish. I don't know.
honestly, I don't blame you. I feel like there's a lot of people who have their own personal reasons. Like some religions, they prefer to have the full body.
Jehovah's Witness. They don't allow themselves to even receive blood transfusions because they consider it impure.
I know that they don't get vaccinated either. I don't think. That's kind of weird.
It is.
But you know, who are we to judge Jehovah's Witnesses? I am. I'm judging you. If I needed a life-saving,
No, if we're gonna judge any of them, it's gonna be Mormons. Sorry,
dude.
I learned of some crazy stuff about them. Not gonna lie.
I
Soaking.
I only learn about crazy things with them.
Do you know what soaking is?
I've heard of soaking before.
I don't want to say it. It's so gross.
So I'll say it.
Oh God.
It's like having sex, but somebody's there with you, watching you, which is not even the weirdest part of that.
they're not even watching.
They're helping you.
Yeah.
They're helping you put it in.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to. But yeah, you basically just like sit on the edge of insertion, penetration, and they jump on the bed and shiboing.
It's so crazy.
The fact that they would rather do that, which if I'm the Mormon God here, I'm like, that's insulting. You thought you could just do a little workaround?
It's so strange. But also, the Mormon God is the Christian God. It's just a different subgenre
I
of
get
Christianity.
that, but like, it's got to be heretical at that point.
You would think so. I don't know.
Same with
So, anyone listening...
because technically the Muslim God is the same as the Christian God.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
No.
Allah,
really?
God, yeah. It's the
Really?
same. All those
Oh,
come
actually,
from,
you might be right.
all those come from Abraham.
Yeah, well, I think Mormonism is different, though, because they still have Jesus. But Islam rejects Jesus, saying that he was just a prophet.
They consider him, prophet, and not the son.
But then again, Mormonism says Jesus was a white man from, like, Missouri or something.
Dude, if Jesus came from Missouri, I would know something's up. Because there's nothing good that's come from Missouri.
Never.
Other than the arch, maybe. And even then, what else is in Missouri? I can't even think of anything. If you're from Missouri, you're on the same level as people from Great Britain. I'm sorry. Sound off in the comments.
Don't say that. They're still American.
You're a step above. However,
thank you.
I will block you on all my accounts if you're from Missouri. I'm sorry.
I did not know we had such a hate for Missouri. I'm sorry. I forget they exist. I think that warrants like a little bit of slack.
It's because of Kansas City. You don't. Sorry, Kansas City doesn't own barbecue. They act like they call themselves the U.S. world capital of barbecue.
Okay,
that's a load of horse spit.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm mad.
I'm not happy. Also, the Chiefs. Oh, you guys sucked, and then you got a generational talent. Kiss my ass. The Kansas City Royals. Don't even get me started. Call yourself the Royals. You're from Missouri. We don't have a king in America. Okay, nothing royal about that city. Except I promise you.
Mormon Jesus.
Except Mormon Jesus. He's royalty there, evidently. Sorry, back to Mormonism. Sorry. Oh my gosh.
Last week it was the Catholics. Now it's the Mormons.
Now it's the Mormons. Except I feel like we were respectful of Catholics because they're like.
I don't know about that. I mean,
we were.
Do you not remember what you said about the altar boys? Yeah.
Damn it!
Yeah,
I did say
you did say that, didn't you?
Okay. Well, Mormons are. I have a hearty respect for Catholics because you're like the OGs.
True.
Mormons are like cheap knockoff.
Have you seen?
They have their own book.
Dog, have you seen the TikToks of like interviews in Mormon colleges? They're like, "Would you rather take one sip of alcohol or kill a puppy?" And they're like, "Kill a puppy."
I'd probably hit it with a bat.
Yeah,
over the head.
It's just the more ethical decision.
Or it was like, would you rather have a shot of gasoline or would you rather have a shot of Johnny Walker? And they're like, insane. Gasoline,
it's
easy.
Insane.
And I'd swallow a match too.
So but yet they do soaking.
Because that's that's the hole God can't see.
It's insane. No. It's the same hole.
That's what I'm saying, though.
That's so stupid.
God can't see it when it's...
Guys, if you're listening to this, there are no loopholes to faith. Come on.
There's
if you're
going
to do it, then full send. You know?
If you're going to not drink... Also, they have a rule that you're supposed to abstain from, like, alcohol, which... That's the same in, like, Islam. They don't do it... Muslims don't drink alcohol, and they don't get tattoos. They're very strict about it. But yeah, they don't eat pork, stuff like that.
Yeah.
However, Muslims, you're fine. Mormons, I'm on your ass. They are not supposed to have stimulants of any kind. So like, you know, a Mormon's like, I won't do cocaine, I won't smoke crack. That's understandable. Most people would probably shame you if you did crack. But they have... alcohol, that's something easy to abstain from. However, they allow themselves to drink coffee even though caffeine's not supposed to be allowed. Because they see it as like, well, do they really mean caffeine? Even though it's very clear that the only reason alcohol is outlawed in Mormonism is because John Smith? What's his name?
John? No, wait, it is Joseph.
Joseph Smith, yeah.
Yeah.
His wife was tired of his friends coming to their house while they were intoxicated. So she was like, add it to the Book of Mormon. No drinking, because she didn't like it.
That's crazy. Mormonism also, back in the day, like, deeply encouraged racism and polygamy.
I do know about the polygamy one.
They did that a lot.
And it sucks because I've only ever heard wonderful things about the state of Utah otherwise. Beautiful state. Pretty good cost of living. Probably because they're trying to avoid those damn Mormons.
Those Mormons, dude.
But for some odd reason, those Mormons had to pick... I don't blame them for picking it. It's a beautiful state. However, I mean, come on. Did you have to take the whole place?
Why?
I couldn't move there.
Why'd you do that?
Honestly, Utah's on the short list of if I had to leave North Carolina, I would go there for its natural beauty. However, the biggest con, Mormonism.
And that's why the Jazz suck.
Yeah. Mormons ruined the Jazz.
They did.
The fact that they're called the Utah Jazz is...
I don't get it, but...
That happens all the time with sports teams. It's because they came from New Orleans. So when they moved
Utah?
well, that's
What?
where the team started at, was in New Orleans. When they moved to
Really?
Utah, they kept the Jazz name. However,
so weird.
they don't really... Again, Mormons don't even listen to music, really.
No. And
They would...
that's really weird because New Orleans still has a team. But New
Mhm.
Orleans
Well, they have one
also
now.
had the Charlotte team.
And they kept
It's like
the
they all
Hornets
moved
name
around.
for the longest
Yeah,
time.
what? Okay,
Even
it doesn't
though
make sense.
and to be fair, they picked Pelicans. Could they not have picked something that's more...
The Gators, that'd be cool.
They could have picked something more appropriate to the city. Because the Charlotte Hornets make sense for Charlotte. Because... Have you heard the story?
It does?
The
No, I didn't know.
reason they're called the Charlotte Hornets is because of the Battle of Kings Mountain, which is in Charlotte. I don't think it was Cornwallis, but during the Revolutionary War, the British general or commanding officer at the battle who lost to the revolutionary troops described them as a nest of hornets because they were so fierce when fighting.
Interesting.
So it's become so related to the city
Oh,
that they
I did not know that.
that's how the Hornets name came about, which is a cool.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, there's this very similar story when it comes to the Tar Heels
Mm-hmm.
as well. That's a fun little story. It was something about, like, I think they were crapping on our soldiers. Is that what it was?
If
Or,
I'm-
or the opposing soldiers. Because they said that they were almost like frozen in fear in a way that it was almost as if they had tar on their shoes that kept them from moving.
From running.
Yeah.
I can't tell if that's insulting or if that's like they stood and fought the good fight.
I can't either. But I also don't know if they were talking about us or the opposition.
If I'm not mistaken, it's our soldiers, but the part that really makes you say, hey, I'll root for that, and say, hey, that's probably not a good thing, is there's rivaling accounts of whether those soldiers were called that during the Revolutionary or Civil War. Now, if it's Revolutionary, I'll say, hell yeah, we beat those British people. Civil War.
We beat those. Oh wait.
Abolitionists.
I was gonna say we beat those racists, but in context,
We
North
were the
Carolina was the
racists.
racist. Dang it!
Oopsies.
Darn. One time I won't root for North Carolina.
It's for slavery.
The one time.
That one little 300 period historical
So
atrocity.
Crazy. So crazy.
Oops. Los Angeles Lakers. That's another team that they came from Minnesota when they moved to LA.
Minneapolis Lakers.
But
That's
they
right.
were the Minneapolis Lakers, and that makes sense because Minnesota. I don't know if you know their nickname, but it's the land of 10,000 lakes.
Interesting.
So that's why they're called the
Okay.
Lakers. But they never got a new name.
The New York Knickerbockers.
That was a cool name. Also, good that they shortened it because that is a very hard name to say.
I think it's fun.
Um,
The Knicks are pretty cool though, and they're in the playoffs now. They're doing really good.
they're in the conference finals.
Yeah. Congratulations, Knicks fans.
If I had a
Y'all
team-
have been starving for
If
a
I
while.
had a team I wanted to win, it would probably be them first.
Really,
Who's even left? Timberwolves, Knicks.
it's the Wolves, the Thunder, the Knicks, and who else is in the
Pacers.
East? Yeah, the Pacers. The Pacers.
Pacers
I,
of all
I
time.
slept on the Pacers. I did not think
Everyone did.
They were, yeah.
Who
that's
thought they
kinda
would
crazy.
beat probably the favorite to win the title in the East? In the
Yeah, they did.
Cavaliers.
Yeah,
Not just beat them.
they beat the Bucks too. I didn't think they beat the Bucks.
Built to ass.
Mhm.
They whooped
They did,
teams. Now, I think the only reason I want
and I
to
feel the exact same way about Minnesota as well.
the belt ass.
To be fair,
They ran through the West so far.
cooked LeBron, cooked Luca, kind of cooked Steph, but then he was injured. So it doesn't really
To be
count.
fair, the Warriors did lose stuff, which
yeah,
sucks.
That really sucked.
But
And the Lakers didn't have a freaking center.
that is true. They'll get one. They'll get one.
I really hate Rudy Gobert. Y'all know Rudy
The
Gobert?
Stifle Tower?
I hate that guy. He sucks. He's a baby. He's a loser. he thinks he's all that.
He has all the
not.
physical intangibles of a beast, yet he the way he moves
He
is
can't
like,
play basketball.
it's insulting this. If I was his height and his weight and had his wingspan,
Yeah.
I would hope that I would at least be more athletic than him.
Yeah. He can't play basketball, and it really sucks that the game that they took out the Lakers was when he scored. Oh. That's embarrassing.
We forgot the audio.
We've been talking
talked
this
for,
whole
like,
time.
Dude, that
We look like amateurs right now.
that's an all-time low for sure.
Crazy. Anyways, as we were saying, welcome back to Horsing Around with Luke and Austin. I'm Austin,
I'm Luke.
and he's Luke. We're going to continue on this episode, starting now with some games. First off, I'm going to get Luke to guess what's on this list. This list is the top 10 most believed conspiracy theories. Luke, let's see what you can get according
All
to
right.
ChatGPT.
Top 10 most believed conspiracies.
Correct.
I'm willing to guess that moon landing.
Moon landing was faked. Number 2.
Number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 2, I could have sworn that would be
most
number 1.
believed. Second most believed,
Second most believed.
according to ChatGPT.
Conspiracies. This is going to be a crazy one. 9/11.
9/11 was an inside job is number 1.
Honestly, those are my top 2.
You knocked out 1 and 2 right there.
1 and 2. And there's 8 more, you said?
Correct.
Okay. I might need a hint for, you know what? That.
Why?
Why?
Why would you need a hint?
The Holocaust isn't real.
The Holocaust was not real is going to be a strike.
Okay.
Not on the list.
Oh, is there 3 strikes here?
No.
There's no strike system, but you
No.
do have a strike. He says that because after the camera turns off, he will strike me with a belt.
Maybe.
For everyone to get
Maybe I
wrong.
will give you strikes. I'll give you 5.
5 strikes. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, I might ask for some hints here.
One of them revolves around a president.
Oh! John F. Kennedy?
JFK assassination cover-up is number 3.
And we're back.
All right.
Okay.
So you've got 1, 2, and 3 knocked off the list. 9/11, the moon landing, and JFK's assassination.
1, 2, 3. How wide ranging are these? Are these like? What, does any of them have to do with vaccines?
Is that your guess?
Sure.
Vaccines are harmful / contain microchips is number 8.
Microtrips.
Yeah. Really small trips.
Really small vacations. Okay, microchips. Number, what did you say that was?
8.
8. So you're telling me there's more popular conspiracies than...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess I hear about them all
Some
the
of
time.
them are really vague.
Vague.
Some are not. Actually, one of them is really vague. The other ones are not.
Is Helen Keller on there?
Helen Keller's not on the list now, and it should be. I agree.
Well, the reason it's not on the list is because that is a fact.
Because everyone knows.
Everyone knows,
Everyone knows.
she's a fraudster.
You're so right.
But no.
All right, so you've got 1, 2, 3, and 8 knocked off.
1, 2, 3, and 8. So I have 6 more. Dude, give me another hint. I'm actually blanking on all my favorite conspiracies.
One of them revolves around. How do I give you a good hint? There's one that I did not know existed. Is that a good hint?
You didn't know existed.
I didn't know this theory existed.
What would you say it's about?
Airplanes.
Oh my gosh. Wait. Is one of the conspiracies flat Earth?
One of them is flat Earth. That's number 6. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Flat
Very
Earth.
Good pull.
About planes. Planes. That. Do people believe planes aren't real?
No, they believe planes are real. It's something about the planes. A hidden feature they have.
A hidden feature. Is it related to how?
If you don't know what it is, I would consider moving on.
Okay, I'll move on. Give me another hint.
One of them is about a recent event that happened in the last 5 years.
COVID.
Yes, COVID-19 was a man-made hoax. Is number 4.
Wow. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Flat Earth
6 and 8.
and
So you need
Vaccines.
10, 9, and 7.
10, 9, 7.
And 5.
And 5.
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned something about planes, a hidden feature.
Yeah, but if you get the rest, I'll give you that one.
Have you? And you haven't heard of that one before?
I haven't heard it until looking at this list.
Planes. That's an interesting one.
Get Pierre to help you.
Pierre, you're my thinking buddy right now. Sorry, he's telling me. We're sharing thoughts. Pierre, I cannot say that one. Oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe what he just said to me. That's not true. Dude, that plane one's gonna throw me off. I can't.
Don't worry about it. Get the other ones.
I hate you, planes. I hate you. Earth is flat. I got that one. What are they? 5G?
Can you elaborate on 5G?
5G interferes with. 5G is sickening us. 5G is.
No.
Nothing about 5G on there?
Nothing about 5G, I'm afraid.
You made me elaborate just to tell me I was wrong.
Yeah, because I didn't really know what that was, to be honest.
Like the 5G
how many strikes
towers?
is that? 2?
That is 2 strikes.
2. Okay. You have 2 strikes.
Give me another hint.
One of them is about the government.
Lizard people.
Not lizard people. I thought it would be on there too.
There's a
but it's
one
not.
world government.
Yes, New World Order is
Okay.
number 7.
Okay. New World Order is number 7.
That's the vague one I was talking about.
Okay.
Now you need 9, 10, and 5.
It's funny how these have become so much of our like cultural like zeitgeist that I've heard like these so many times that they don't even register as conspiracies anymore. Not that they're fact or anything.
Yes, they are. They're true.
Not that they're fact or anything, but like you just hear people joke or talk about them all the time. That to me, it's just like everyday conversation.
I think it's true. Why do you think I chose this list?
They're all things
I
you
believe they're all real.
That's not even ChatGPT. You just made a list of top 10, your favorite top 10 conspiracies.
Yes.
9,
9, 10, and 5 are left on the board.
10, and 5. So 10 and 9 would have to be things that are known, but they're like people have heard of these conspiracies, but they're kind of obscure.
Just think like tinfoil hat type behavior.
Tinfoil
you know?
hat, like that insane?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they're not that crazy. Like, one of these is something I actually do believe in, to be honest.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That climate change isn't real.
No, actually.
It's not on the list?
It's not on the list.
That's strike 3.
No. Yes, that is strike 3. I'll give you 2 more. 2 more strikes.
That the world is not as old as they say.
I actually like that one, but it's not on the list either. Strike 4.
Dang it.
Let's see if you can get this.
Space isn't real.
No. That was a stupid guess. You went to space and didn't think aliens?
Wait, people...
For number 10. Number 10.
Again, that's become so popular. I feel like so
Yeah,
many people
yeah.
believe in aliens
Yeah.
now. That,
Number 10 was alien cover-ups / Area 51.
Okay.
It was number 10.
I
That's one you
understand that
missed. Then 9 is one you also missed. It was Elvis / Tupac / other celebrities are still alive.
Okay.
That's one you missed.
They're in Cuba.
Then when we went to 8, vaccines are harmful / contain microchips.
Got that one.
7 was the New World Order. 6 was Flat Earth. 5 was one I did not know about.
Is this the one about the planes?
This one is referred to as chemtrails.
I do know about chemtrails.
Yeah,
The idea
so-
that they're spreading like
Yeah.
harmful materials out the back of the.
For those who don't know, chemtrails is a theory that says that whenever you see the white,
Which is basically
exhaust, the smoke from planes in the sky, they say that those are actually harmful chemicals that could have various properties that lead to mind control or other stuff.
I
Like
found
that.
Instagram accounts of people who are like, who it's like chemtrail today, and it's like legit like people who are probably mentally ill who go outside and take videos of just like
Yeah.
what the planes leave behind, basically, and they just look at it and say like, "There's another one of them damn chemtrails. I think they're gonna get me." It's like, dude, I think you
Yeah.
already got yourself. I don't think the government's
You sure
stepping
did.
in.
Yeah, so that was number 5 was chemtrails. 4 was COVID-19 was fake.
Okay.
3 was JFK's assassination cover-up. 2, the moon landing was fake. And number 1 being that 9/11 was an inside job. It's good to see that one grow in popularity. It's pretty nice.
That one's weird. 9/11. Okay. Now going from 1 to 10. This will be our, for the viewers, I know you're sad. This will be our final piece of the episode. But I was just going to ask 1 through 10. I want you to rate 1 through 10 as I go. Start at number 1. 9/11 is an inside job. I want to hear from you, Austin. 1 through 10 most, 10 being most likely. 1 being
9/11 being an inside job.
being an inside job. Think about everything that came after 2 wars. I'll rate them myself, too.
Yeah, I don't know. You see, because
I live a boring life, so.
I've seen the things that talk about the way the building fell is like a controlled demolition, especially since it really didn't impact any other buildings that I know of, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, like that corner, that block was pretty messed up. But it did fall very interestingly, might I add. But on the flip side of that, if the government did plan that, then why was there, like, if you've been to TSA recently on a plane, they like hiked it up ever since 9/11. And that kind of makes me think that it wasn't something that was planned.
Also, and it's going to be an answer for most of these, how do you not have a single person who's in on this who doesn't blab once? That's my big thing.
True.
Because you can't just,
Yeah.
do this stuff. Number 2, JFK.
To answer your question,
Sorry,
on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely it is that it was planned,
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna put it a bit lower than you would think. I'm usually quite the conspiracist. Like I'm pretty gullible with certain conspiracies. I like to believe them. But for the 9/11 being an inside job, I'm actually gonna give it like a 4 or 5.
Honestly, I'm
Being
going to be
likely.
I was going to say, I'm probably at like a 2, and I'm just going to be your foil because I'm like the opposite of that. You'd have to really give me like compelling evidence to make me believe a conspiracy. It's just not, I don't know. Guess it's not the way my brain works.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I
No shade on
I
anybody.
vibe with conspiracies, to be honest.
They're
I
fun.
I feel like the majority of them, that if I think they're fun enough, I'll be like, yeah, that's totally true.
I agree that they're probably it's just fun to believe it because the world is, and that's the way I like to think, is the world's just so damn boring. Like, I don't believe in them because like I just think the most likely, like Occam's razor. I think what probably happened is just what happened, unfortunately. Moon landing. Was it Stanley Kubrick on a film set?
Are you asking me that?
Yeah, 1
Is that
through
what we're
10.
getting into?
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick.
Moon landing being fake, I'll give it. The motivations are there. I'm telling you.
I get the motivations.
The motivations are there for it to be fake.
Space race.
100%.
Trying to
space race.
impress the world.
You know how
specifically
Americans
Soviet
are? We're prideful.
cocky.
Yeah.
Say we couldn't do
Especially
it.
towards the Russians.
We say, Stanley, please build us a set. Let's ball out.
I'm going to give that one a 7.
Okay, 7 on the
7 on the
most likely.
conspiracy meter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number JFK getting his head topped off.
Now, that I 100% believe was the CIA.
Okay.
I completely believe that.
Okay. Okay, he does not
think-
believe Oswald acted alone.
JFK literally talked about outing a lot of the corrupted government stuff going on, and then he conveniently got his head blown off during a
Bay of Pigs
parade.
invasion.
Come on. No. He... gone too soon. Gone too soon. Rest in
As
peace.
as if my dad was even alive.
Fly high, my brother.
Fly high, JFK. We miss you. What was number 4?
COVID, probably. I think COVID was real. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into
That'd
that
be
one.
pretty.
That'd be pretty wild.
Also,
I got COVID.
I question.
You know.
I question the people who. Oh my gosh! I forgot you did have COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
forgot.
had it twice.
I've never had COVID.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like everyone had it.
Most
You didn't
everybody
have it?
has. Yeah.
Really? That's interesting.
Everybody in my house has at some point.
It took me a long time to get it, though.
Everybody in my house has, but I've somehow snaked around getting it. Maybe I don't get sick often, to be fair. So maybe my body
I don't
just
either.
it doesn't lock in for COVID. It's locked in for everything but COVID.
Yeah.
Number 5, chemtrails.
I don't believe in that
That's
one.
bogus.
I think if the American government is going to put stuff in us to control us, it's going to be in our food or in our water. It's not going to be through planes.
I was literally about to say that because also it's such an American-centric conspiracy because like, are all planes in America to these people?
Right. Yeah.
Is the American government also, for some reason, well, what's the point of hypnotizing somebody in Singapore?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Well, I think what they're getting at is commercial airlines, passenger planes, just flying strictly in U.S. airspace, dropping stuff.
Oh.
But I don't agree with that. I think that one's
whack.
a 1 in terms of likelihood because you have food and water that they have direct access to. And, the GMOs, stuff like that they're putting into it, that probably has something to do with it. Or, if you want to go even easier than that, your cell phone could emit some kind of energy.
That is also part of these conspiracies. If they wanted to, they could have by now.
Right, yeah.
And
they probably have. I don't know. If you've ever seen Invincible, have you seen Invincible? I love that show. I'd love to talk about that show.
I've definitely heard of it, yes.
Invincible's really good. And something that they bring up is that they do tamper with the water supply in a way that limits what light frequency you can see with your eyes. So some things just don't appear visible to you, which is definitely not true, but it's a really cool idea.
That is kind of a sick concept.
Yeah. So I don't believe in chemtrails. Next was flat Earth. I don't believe in flat Earth. No, it's definitely a circle.
The best argument against it I've ever heard is people who've said, what would you have to gain?
Does it matter?
Who gives a crap?
I guess you're right.
If the world was flat, I don't think they'd have a problem. They haven't had a problem saying it's round. There's nothing to hide.
Why has no one fallen off the edge yet?
Yeah.
They're just gravity just put you upside down.
What is there to hide?
I don't know.
Realistically, nothing.
I don't get it. No.
Flat Earth is the dumbest one. New World Order.
Hold on. Well, another thing about flat Earth is that a lot of big Christians actually believe in flat Earth because they
also I just wanted to mention the camera died, but we'll just do the rest of this without it. It's fine.
Oh, that's so tough.
It'll just be a few more minutes. I think.
Okay.
Fine.
Yeah,
I'll add our logo and just us talking.
Yeah. Anyways, flat Earth. A lot of Christians believe it because of the firmament. Like in Genesis, he talks about when he was creating the world.
Oh, is that supposed to be like the?
I consider it like an atmosphere, pretty much.
But they think it's like the dome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. They kind of imply it as a gate between Earth and space, which would imply that humans have actually never been to space because they can't. Because of the firmament, they say you can't pass through.
They hit the Fortnite edge barrier.
Yeah.
Spawn Island.
I don't believe it. I think the firmament is something that we can't see, but it's like in space. I think that's the barrier between the spiritual world and the physical one.
I see.
If I were to get crazy like that, we'll move on from that one though.
New World Order.
New World Order. Also, along with my biblical beliefs, the New World Order is a thing that's always being conceived of, but I don't believe it.
More of an abstract concept.
Yeah, but in the book of Revelation, it talks about the Antichrist bringing about a one-world government. So, do I believe it will happen eventually? Yes. Do I think it's happening right this second? No.
Also, I feel like that's worth pointing out that I imagine that conspiracy definitely comes from religion. Like people are like that.
You're probably right. Yeah.
But then people would think like, I feel like conspiracies get either boiled down or like change over time. Probably see something like that and think, oh, but what if the world was run by some shadow cabal right now?
Yeah.
That'd be insane.
Yeah. Not for sure. The next one was vaccines are harmful / contain microchips.
I don't believe
This
that.
is kind of just like the chemtrails one. I think they have better ways to
Yeah.
control us than vaccines.
Also, you could probably just look at a chart of childhood death rates and then find the point where they
When-
started injecting people with
Yeah.
vaccines,
Yeah,
and you probably
true,
say,
true.
they stopped dying a lot.
That's weird.
Actually, the harm went down significantly when you started.
When's the last time your boy got like smallpox or something? You know what I mean?
It's gone.
It's gone.
The disease
right?
is it's the only
Exactly.
human disease that's ever been eradicated.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
So yeah, I don't believe in harmful vaccines.
Yeah.
Some people be like, no, they cause autism.
That's also dumb. You're
Yeah.
born with it.
I mean, I guess since I don't understand it, maybe it could impact the wrong person due to genetics. Maybe.
To be
but-
fair, I guess this is worth saying. There are people who are allergic to like things in the vaccine, but that's no different than if I had a peanut allergy. Mm-hmm. That's why usually if they're concerned that your allergy might interfere,
Yeah.
they would run tests before giving you the vaccine. However, if it was, would you rather have polio or have a mild allergic reaction? I would probably take the mild allergic reaction, to be fair.
If you have a peanut butter allergy, I'm going to clown you. Actually, that's the most.
You're the
embarrassing
reason
thing.
we had to have peanut-free tables.
Imagine getting folded by a nut. Like, are you
That's
serious?
something so natural.
That's so embarrassing.
Are you part of the no allergy gang?
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah, I don't have
goodness.
allergies.
Thank
my,
God.
my brother though, one time he almost died from a pistachio.
Oh my God.
And I'll get to that like next week or something. But
Pistachio.
it's so embarrassing. Number
Weak.
9, Elvis / Tupac and or other celebrities are still alive.
I get the allure of this one.
Mm.
Say you're rich and famous and you want to
Yeah.
disappear.
I believe in it a bit more than the other ones we just talked about.
Because
Like Elvis and Michael Jackson, I think they're probably still out there. If they haven't died naturally already.
I was going to say, Elvis, maybe he's already croaked because he was pretty fat when he died.
Yeah, he was pretty old, but
When they alleged that he died.
yeah, I think Elvis and Michael Jackson both had very good reason to escape the public.
Especially Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Especially at the time he did.
Yeah. Although some people say that Michael Jackson's death is like linked to P. Diddy stuff. Like they like to claim like P. Diddy had a hand in
I guess we'll
his death.
I guess we'll find out. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's
that-
all.
that-
That's
that's
all
pretty
happening as
interesting.
we're making this podcast.
That's pretty
so.
interesting though. Yeah, but I would rate that one
I guess
low
that-
key an 8. If I can understand good motivations, then I think it's pretty likely.
Yeah, especially if you're like, it takes the least amount of people to convince.
Mm-hmm.
You go to another country and you just live your
Yeah,
life in peace.
exactly.
Especially if you're having like controversy.
Yeah.
I think Elvis makes more sense. Tupac a little less because he had a lot of enemies. I do think people just killed him.
I believe less in Tupac, but when it comes to Elvis and MJ, I'm like, yeah, they probably did. You know,
That-
Elvis was super depressed.
Yeah.
Because of his fame and whatnot, and Michael Jackson just didn't have an actual life.
Fame's a
ever.
double-edged sword.
Yeah, it really is. So yeah, I would rate that one an 8 on likelihood. To be honest, like I could believe that one for sure. And finally, number 10, alien cover-ups in Area 51. I 100% believe in that. To be
Alien
honest with you.
cover-ups? Yeah.
I'll rate that one a 10.
Yeah, even in that, I don't know how much you follow congressional hearings. It sounds boring to say.
Yeah, they literally talked about that.
They talked about how the government made strides to cover up some sort of
Mm-hmm.
now whether it was alien or whether it was because even then it seemed like the government didn't fully know what they were covering up, but they were
True,
concerned
yeah.
about the public.
Well,
finding out.
I remember one specific phrase they used was foreign organic matter, which
Implies it's not
mean-
from here.
Yeah, which means life, which means alien life. But I don't know.
The idea that I guess it's if you're religious, it's easier to say like across the board, like I don't believe in other, but take your mind out of a religious text for a second and just imagine scientists got it all right, which I know personally I believe more of what the scientists say, but say this universe is so vast, there's got to be something.
There's got to be. Right?
There's got to be something
Yeah.
somewhere, whether
There's-
that's small or whether that's
Yeah.
something like us, which that's even more scary to think about. Imagining that there's another Earth-like planet. This makes my like brain almost
They
break.
say there's plenty though.
But not just an Earth-like planet, one that's had its own human history with its own different animal species
Yeah.
and its own. But it could have happened within thousands of years before or after us,
Isn't that kind of crazy?
and it could have died already or
Yeah.
had another form of life.
They say Venus was really habitable. Was it Venus or was it Mars? I'm pretty sure it was Venus.
One of the two.
Yeah. Who really cares? They're like the same thing.
Actually, I'm pretty sure Venus is like completely now. It's like acid showers.
Yeah, it's like actually terrible.
Mars is just like Earth, but red, and also nobody
just
can live there.
A big desert, pretty
They have a
much.
very small atmosphere, very thin.
Venus lost its atmosphere completely.
It's not goated like the Earth.
Yeah. But like those Earth-like planets that you were talking about earlier. I know the most popular one is like Proxima b, if you've heard of that one. And I think they even at one point had remnants of water as well, which is pretty crazy.
Yes.
But something about Proxima b is that its atmosphere does not exist. Also, on top of that, it doesn't orbit around a star like the sun. It orbits around a much smaller, I don't know, I forgot what they called it, like a dwarf star or something, which means they have to be a lot closer to it.
Yeah.
And so their year is only 11 days. Yeah. But because they're so close to it, the heat from that star burns up any atmosphere. So you're just constantly getting hit with radiation and stuff like that.
It's insane because that just makes you think about the Earth more and more and more. Like, it's so true to think about.
Oh, it is.
That we are living here right now, horsing around.
We're horsing around in perfect conditions.
Perfect
for
conditions for life. The fact that just humans have created this much, especially within the last, frankly, just few hundred years.
We got sticks and rocks and water, and then we made Bluetooth.
We made satellite. We went to the freaking moon, maybe, according to that list.
Maybe.
We went to the moon. How insane is that? We left this planet to go just like stand on a rock and say, hey, we were there.
True.
That's insane to think about.
It is.
Honestly, and this is what I'll leave us on. If you could go under the condition, okay, say you could go to the moon, chances are you probably won't die. Most likely, say there's a 95% chance of survival throughout the trip. Would you take that very small risk to go to the moon?
Oh, yeah.
That'd be so sick.
That would be sick, right?
That'd be so sick. And
it really would.
The U.S. has talked about sending astronauts back within the next couple of years.
Yeah. Well, did you see...
With modern tech?
Did you see... It was like
Sheesh.
Katy Perry.
Going
and,
to
like,
the
her
edge of the
friends, and
atmosphere.
they went into space.
And they got... not even technically in space, by the way. They were on like the very edge of the atmosphere. Where they could see the edge of space. And they got... Because she kissed the ground when she came back. And she was like, you just have to see it. First of all, it cost millions of dollars to go.
I think that was our let them eat cake moment.
That being so out of touch.
Yeah,
for her
it's
to
so
act
crazy.
like, oh, you just have to go there. How?
Literally how?
In what way?
I'm sorry. I'll take 5 different loans, please.
Yeah.
So I can go to space.
I'll
like
just
Katy
ruin the
Perry.
rest of my life
Gosh.
and the 4 generations after me just so I can have
That's so insane.
the shot to see the edge of space.
Just to get a picture of it on
Also,
my
no, my
camera
luck,
roll.
the rocket would blast apart
Yeah.
halfway
Yeah.
the edge of space.
Continuing on with the conspiracy part, though, a lot of them say they didn't even go into space either.
Oh.
Because I saw like some stuff about how it's supposed to be like a capsulized something or whatever, like airtight.
Oh.
You're not supposed to be able to open it from the inside, pretty much.
Oh.
And
just
then-
so some idiot doesn't
Yeah.
kill everybody.
Exactly. And so when they landed back and the TV and it was live, they actually opened the door, but then they went back to it like, no, close it. And then they had Jeff Bezos actually open it from the outside as scripted.
Oh.
And I was like, weird. That's so weird.
Oh, I see.
So maybe that was fake too.
Huh. I mean, there's a guy from Dude Perfect who did it too, which he got sponsored to do.
He went to space?
He went to on the same sort of the Blue Voyage or whatever it is.
It was one of the twins, wasn't it?
Yeah, they went to So it was the same thing as Katy Perry with the edge of space. However, he was like, "Oh, this is sick." He wasn't like, "You have to do it." He was a lot more humble about doing it. You know, he wasn't like, "If you can't do this, then you got to figure some finances out or something."
You need to lock in.
But that's what they're trying to do. Is those companies? The idea is nice. It's to decentralize space travel, as they put it, so that more people get the opportunity to do these things.
Awesome. I would love to do that because how embarrassing is it that the majority of people that lived on Earth never left?
Never.
Isn't that embarrassing?
We've had to live here like every other
we
life
couldn't
form.
go anywhere.
And then Neil Armstrong changed the game. Actually, you know, not to nerd out.
And Buzz Aldrin.
Not to nerd out, Yuri Gagarin. First guy to ever touch space. Touch space. First guy to ever leave. First guy to ever enter space was a Russian cosmonaut, which is such a sick name.
What about the dogs? They've been to space.
They've been there.
Shout out the dogs.
Some of them died.
Shout out Cosmo.
Rest in peace. Some of them died.
Some of them, they just left up there. Isn't that terrible?
They've sent monkeys to space, fleas. Well, the reason they sent them was to see, hey, will it kill this thing?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a lot of those poor dogs died.
Dude, I also heard another thing that Russians did to dogs when they were working on transplant technology.
Russian dog, I can imagine
They're
million different
terrible
things.
to dogs down there. It's insane. No, but I saw on TikTok today, literally, that they cut off one dog's head and then surgically moved it onto another dog's body. But
For what purpose?
Okay, but here's the thing. They didn't just do a head transplant. They transplanted a head onto another whole dog.
To see how it
So
would...
the one dog had two heads. Isn't that terrible?
That's like something some bored people in a lab got too drunk and thought, dude, let's cut its head off and just put it on another body.
The dog lived for like months.
That'd be trippy.
Isn't that insane? But
Just to have, it's like a conjoined twin, but you made a conjoined twin.
Yeah, but then it died to like infection and stuff because they didn't sew up.
They didn't sterilize it properly.
You know, and what? Because they also let the removed dog's head eat.
Oh.
But his esophagus wasn't connected to the original dog's stomach.
Oh.
So it just was piling up food and stuff. So obviously that was going to be disgusting.
What? Again, what? Heck, they left a human up there one time.
In space?
They just sort of overshot it and they just went off into space and died.
That's so embarrassing. What about those astronauts that just died on live television right before we actually made it to the moon?
Oh.
Remember that?
Actually, that was...
Apollo
not to nerd out, but the most popular one was one of the 80s Challenger. That was the one where they had the teacher who won the sweepstakes to get on there.
No way.
So a bunch of students were watching in their classroom because they were like, a teacher's doing it, and then they had to watch as it exploded on live television. And
like that girl probably taught you your multiplication tables.
Could you imagine watching your teacher blow up?
That's insane.
All because, fun fact, it was because of negligent workers. They had like a ring that they knew wasn't sealing properly.
I heard
O-ring.
that. Yeah.
And they were like, "Hey,
that's fine.
is this gonna be a problem?" And they were like, "Don't think so." Oh, it was a big problem. Didn't seal right and exploded.
I think I saw a similar documentary thing about something like that, and people, like the technicians, actually voiced their concerns about the numbers, but then the the board in charge of the thing were too ridden on the ratings, the views, because they were like broadcasting
deadlines.
And so like, we have to do this, we can't push this back anymore, and so they just did it anyway.
And this is actually, you know why I say this is the best way to end it? This goes directly back to how we started the podcast, because professionals being negligent with their jobs, just like those surgeons.
True. Just like surgeons.
Just like those surgeons are.
They're everywhere.
When people are pushed for ratings, for profit, for deadlines,
they will choose the selfless option.
They will choose to cut corners, and that costs lives.
It does.
Just like all those poor people that died on the Challenger mission.
So true.
But thank you for joining us for this episode, and sorry for any technical difficulties. You hardly will notice because I will have seamlessly edited this together.
We can have stick figures doing our talking for us right now. or something. Yeah, but everyone, thank you for tuning back in. Please remember that if you want us to hear us talk about something more specific, if you have ideas that you want to hear our thoughts on, please let us know in the comments, and we'll probably get to those.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And thank you for tuning in, and we'll have another episode out before you know it.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you so much for tuning in, and this has been Luke and Austin with Horsing Around with Luke and Austin.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.